Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jane Brennan and you're very much welcome to today's episode on the podcast and the YouTube videos. You may be wondering how we've survived COVID all these years before the opening of China, right? So I am here with another guest and we'll be talking about life here in China during the COVID time as an expert in China. So I have a very beautiful person here. She's very down to earth. She's one of my newest friends, and really I am very privileged to have her on my episode today because, she's very patient, very humble, and she has a place in my heart. Let me just put it out there for you guys to know. All right, so beautiful, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Rachel, and I'm so happy to be around. And today's podcast, I hope you're gonna have lovely chats, and I hope you're all gonna enjoy it.
I hope so, you guys. I really hope so. So, can we know a brief about you? Where you're from, and where currently are you? Because I know I'm in Jinan City, but are you based in Jinan? Where have you been?
Okay, so I'm from Zimbabwe.
Wow.
That is south of Africa.
Great.
And currently I'm living in Yunnan, but I'm used to live in Beijing. So I'm still getting used to Yunnan. There's still a lot for me to learn. There's still a lot for me to discover.
Mm-hmm.
I've been living in Yunnan for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is like 2021.
2021, yes.
Wow.
Yes, I would say 2021.
I think Jinan has a lot of people, but I'm not sure how to meet a lot of people. If you're in Jinan and you're watching this, please leave a message in the comment section. I want to meet all of you. I want to have a talk with all of you. Wow. So how have you been coping in Jinan? And you come from Beijing to Jinan. It's more like being an elephant and now you're a rat. I mean, how are you coping with our small life?
Okay. For me, it's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I would say now I'm still getting to know more about Jinan. Like I said before, because when I moved to Jinan, I faced some challenges, so I couldn't explore Jinan that much. Okay. So for me, I'm actually enjoying coping with Jinan. It doesn't matter, the fact that I used to be living in Beijing and now I'm in a smaller city. It's quite quiet and nice, though I was kind of used to the fast life of Beijing. Things go really fast.
Exactly, you guys.
And you have to get used to the fastness.
Wow.
To the speed, I mean to say.
The speed.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I've been in Jinan for like 4 years. My first time here in China, it's been Jinan, but I've been to Beijing for like visits. I went there, I'm like, I cannot cope. I've just been there for like 2 days or 3 days. I'm like, no. The things are expensive there, first of all. Very expensive. The fast pace of life, and also like you are nobody's business. So it's something. So how is life? Because you said you moved here in 2021.
Yeah.
That means you started COVID in Beijing.
Yes, that's so true.
Wow. Can you tell us how life was then as an expert?
Okay, it was quite interesting at first when COVID happened. I remember when it started, it was 2020, during Chinese New Year. And a lot of people had traveled, for most foreigners, they traveled back to their home countries for the Chinese New Year holiday. And for the Chinese locals, they would have traveled to their hometowns. Mm-hmm. So normally, during Chinese New Year, Beijing would become like a ghost town.
It's true. It's. I can testify to that. I can really testify to that.
It'll be so empty. It will be so empty, and so when COVID hit, for me it was like, okay, it's when the news came out, I wouldn't say I didn't take it serious, but I was like, I'm not going to be worried about it. Life has to go on. So I remember outside a lot of kids. You wouldn't see kids outside, but I had a colleague whom I was hanging out with.
Okay.
So most of the times we'll be like, let's go out shopping,
Wow.
let's go for a walk, and that is something that helped us to cope with the COVID when it first hit.
Like you guys were still allowed to go out?
Yes, we were, cause
Oh my gosh.
there
Because
weren't.
there was a time, sorry to cut you short, but there was a time in Jinan that nobody was allowed to even leave their doorstep.
Wow. Well, when it first hit, we were allowed to. They were just encouraging people to stay indoors, and
Okay.
they were encouraging people to just protect themselves. So there weren't a lot of people outside. So that meant we could utilize the chance, like, let's go for a walk.
Oh,
So
wow.
we'll take like those 1 hour walks, 1.5 hour walk. And we used to go shopping, though a lot of people were shopping online. So it meant when you went to the grocery store, it was like it's almost empty.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is sad. Anyways, during COVID hit China in, I think, January of 2020, and we all took it like a joke, like she just said. She didn't take it seriously, and no one took it seriously until February. February was when they started like the ambulance everywhere, and they asked people to stay at home. And I was staying in the hostel then, by the way, so we're not allowed to even go outside downstairs of the dormitory, and it was hell. If you guys have not watched my previous video, I posted something about COVID time and the stories about COVID, how we survived COVID in the early times. And yeah, I am very glad to have another person do that podcast with me. So, what would you say are the challenges that hit you? Let me use the word hit in COVID, because
Okay.
COVID was something else, everyone.
Yeah, it's true. First, I want to agree with you that COVID hit us either directly or indirectly.
Exactly.
We might not be quite sure how it hit us, but it surely did. Like, I would say it's kind of like affected my relationships. Not really affect, but a lot of my friends who had left the country to travel for the Chinese New Year, they were not able to come back, and later on, as the years passed, they decided to move on with life since the borders were closed. And so some of my friends, they never came back. And as for those who stayed, we thought this would be like COVID would be something that's going to last maybe for some months.
Exactly.
But in China, it went up to on
3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
So even some people, just after losing your friends who couldn't come back, and then some people decided to leave. Some of my friends, the later also maybe sometime last year.
Really?
Yeah, they decided to leave China for good. Like, let's go and try it somewhere else, or just go back home and being with family. So that was the other way COVID hit. And just hearing that somebody has passed away because of COVID,
Really?
that was never some good news. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
There's some
I'm so
people
sorry
I
about that.
knew who are no longer with us, from both here in China and even from back home, from my own country. There are people who passed away because of COVID.
Wow.
And every time I had somebody I knew has passed away, I'll be like, I wish there was a way they could have survived this. So,
wow.
so
I've heard of a lot of people talking about the grandma, because it's especially affects the old people, like the grandma, grandpas, like the elderly people, losing them to COVID. I'm like, oh my gosh, because you cannot feel how someone else is feeling until it's like you feel it yourself. So I'm very sorry about that. It's a very bad news.
Yeah, so bad news, so bad.
Wow. So COVID for me, I would say, like, she has said everything. At least she has the chance to go and walk. We did not have that. But when I would still say that COVID was the best year of 2020, by the way, was the best year of my life because I learned a lot of things. I knew I was close to death, and I was so grateful when I came back from that because I had my surgery in 2020 and I got two accidents in 2020. So when I was doing I went coma for just 4 hours. Not just 4 hours. That's a lot. Why did I say just 4 hours? So like the COVID hit, and why it hit differently was when I had the accident, it was so hard for the ambulance to come pick me up because, COVID everywhere was curfew, and they were just like, hey, can you come? They said they don't allow us to go to your school. You have to get some letter from your teacher. I'm like, I'm dying here. So it was bad. But then we had like we had this bond with people in that hostel because when we're all together into COVID, we started like making bonds with each other. Like we started making friends with each other. Like we started having party dinners. Like you cook today, your friend cooks tomorrow. The union was just there. So I would say yes, COVID was very bad for me, but yeah, it's taught us a lot of things. So what are the things COVID has taught you so far?
Okay, COVID has taught me a lot. Like, I learned a lot maybe through other people, just observing and watching others, and some things, it was like direct learning. I saw what I would say resilience in people. There are some people whom I never thought they would be so strong, but I saw them getting to be so strong because of the different situations that arose because of COVID. And the other thing, you value relationships, like I mentioned before. COVID has taught me to value relationships because, like you see in China now, a lot of people have left. We have fewer numbers of expats, so that means maybe the number of people in our inner circles or the number of foreigners you're likely to meet is now a little bit lower. So I've learned to value every relationships. There's no relationship that is going to be sweet at all times. But now I've learned like also how to keep whenever a relationship goes sour, I've learned something like how I can keep on maintaining it. Like just iron out things with if that person is my friend. And
Wow,
the other thing I've learned through COVID is that I've seen people come with so much creativity during COVID. I like the creativity part.
That is a very nice point.
Yeah, we saw a lot of creativity that nobody could have ever imagined. Aspects of life, you mentioned it. Oh, it was so interesting. Even up to now, we still see a lot of creativity from all different aspects of life.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's right.
So those are some of the things. I would say some of the things
that you learned from
that
COVID.
I've learned. It's not all.
Okay. Wow, it's not all.
Yeah.
So should we say thank you to COVID? No, I don't want to say that. No. No matter how nice it has been, I do not want COVID days to come. Those long lines of doing your test every day. Those no, those were terrible. Those were terrible. China was something else for us then. So as an expert in China, and like you just mentioned about losing your friends to COVID, not like they died, they obviously like just losing their friendship. Did you ever recover from it?
Oh,
did you ever replace people? Because it's very hard for me to replace people in my life. If I'm dating, if I'm having like a friendship, it's very hard to replace someone else for someone else. So how did you move on with that life? I personally want to know because I haven't moved on.
Okay, that is quite an interesting question.
It is.
So I would say, for COVID, I would say we are still recovering for most people, you're still recovering from what happened due to COVID, and as it is not yet like we are not really like quite sure or clear like of all the effects of COVID. So we can say the effects of COVID are something that is still like we're still realizing them, and I would say like something when it comes to my relationships or friendships, you know, when a friend moves to another place, I didn't really lose them. Like we still chat over the phone, but they're not there physically.
Yes.
So we need friends whom we can have like right
Physically,
now. It's a physical relationship.
That's true.
So just because maybe you're left like it's just you who's left in a certain place. I have to make new friends. Where they've moved to, they've also met new
their
people.
own friends.
So we always encourage. One of my friends who moved back to Canada, I would be encouraging her, and she would be encouraging me. Like, have you met some new people? She also helped me at some point. Like, oh, there's a group of foreigners in Jinan who's meeting at this place. Then she went on the internet. She gave me the details. She was trying to help me from Canada to hook up with people in Jinan.
It's an amazing person.
Yeah. So I would say no matter a friend or somebody moved away from China, life has to go on. Their life is still going on wherever they move to. So we have to carry on, and that will help us creating new friendships. I believe is something that happen always in our lives. Wherever you go, we are bound to make new relationships. Yeah.
I like the fact you said life has to move on. That word is so hard for me to digest sometimes, especially when something happens and people say it is what it is. I'm like, no, it's not what it is. I don't like the word. So definitely life has to move on. And yes, I could count a lot of friends that we were close, and you know, when they traveled back, it's just like, hello, how are you? Maybe today, hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Tomorrow, how are you? Fine. Next tomorrow, hello, no messages. So it's not definitely gonna be like you have the hope of seeing this person maybe next week Tuesday, or like you have the hope of sitting with them. So it's very hard to also keep that friendship when it's thousands of miles away, unless you guys have probably this bond or there is plans of meeting. But if there are no plans, if there are no direction, I feel like it's gonna be hard as well to keep them, unless you just text like once in 2 years, which is, I'm not really that kind of person. I like to talk with people as much as possible. So as an expat in China again, because this is what the topic is about in the COVID time, did you undergo any form of like heartbreak or depression, or self-sabotage? You guys checked my last episode because we talked about self-sabotage, and like what was this hard thing that hit you during the COVID
Okay.
that you hated being an expat in COVID? During the COVID time in China.
Okay, the hard thing that hit me during the COVID time, it wasn't, maybe I would say it wasn't COVID related.
Oh, okay.
But it's maybe to go into depression, stress.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I just gave up on a lot of things. Like, it was during COVID when I had my surgery.
Wow.
And it was during COVID that when I lost my mom. And
oh my God. Oh my
because
God.
of the travel restrictions, you lose someone. It wasn't a good thing. I think I hate the travel restrictions. That is the part where I hate the travel restrictions. I lost my mom during COVID, and I got hospitalized during COVID. It wasn't something I enjoyed. There was a time we told to wear masks whilst you're admitted in hospital. Like, for sure, I'm in pain and you want me to put on the mask. The pain was more serious than putting on your mask. I know for health reasons they want you to do that. But I was in so much pain that
Jesus.
thinking of putting on a mask was the
Was
last
not
thing.
was not even an
Yeah,
option.
yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
because of those two things, I got depressed. I ended up having like being stressed, and you just lose hope on
Jeez.
life. Yeah.
Jeez.
So it hit me more than COVID itself. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah.
How have you I don't know, you guys, people talk about depression.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times that I feel like my inner thought is just being very negative, and I feel self-sabotage. I feel like I'm not enough, or I want something other people want, and I don't really know if that's depression, but to me I feel like that's not depression. Depression is it's way deeper, and I cannot talk about depression if I haven't gone through it. So for she has just mentioned depression, and I would like you to explain to us what it means, like, to be depressed. I don't know if is it okay to even explain this? I think it takes action. It's an inner thing. It's hard to
It's an
explain.
inner thing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain.
okay.
Like probably people who are in medical field may have the correct word for it, but I will try. Like it's a point where maybe you have experienced something that you continue to think about, or it continues to come over your mind. You go over it in your mind a couple of times to the point where you can't control the mind, or stop your mind from thinking about it, and you no longer have peace. It takes away your peace from your mind, from your heart, or even physically the appearance is going to change, because maybe
Really?
you're no longer eating well, you're no longer having enough sleep. So it's a group of other things. When it comes to depression, it will involve all the other things: pain, there's sorrow, there's no longer joy or peace. Sometimes even insomnia can be part of depression. You're no longer sleeping, having enough sleep during the night. So it's
Oh
just
my
like a
God.
bag of mixed things that are not really good. Yeah.
Did okay. Oh my God, that sounds terrible. God, please do not allow us to go through that thing again, really.
Yeah.
Did you ever get out of it? Like, what did it deprive you of? Because I think was it you or something? We're
Yeah.
talking the other day, and you said there was a time you got scared of talking with people and loving people, and valuing friendship, and even maybe working or something.
Yeah.
Did it all contribute? Like, did depression all contribute to this? And how are you really willing to get out of it right now?
Yes, I would say stress and depression really contributed to it. Like I got to a point where sometimes I don't want to have like a friendship relationship. In a friendship, it's gonna be like it's a give and take. You're not just gonna be
taking all the
Yeah.
time.
So
Sure.
sometimes I'm like, I'm not prepared to be giving to someone. I'm trying to make it on my own, be somebody who can be available to make a relationship with a friendship relationship with somebody. And I would say I got scared sometimes, like I want to go out. Um, I don't know if it was being scared, like if things don't go the way I expected them to go, I just give up. Like, oh, it didn't work out. Maybe I'm about to put all my clothes. I'm gonna put this and this, but it doesn't work out the moment I'm dressing up. I'm like, okay, let's just cancel the whole thing.
No.
Yeah, so that's what depression can do. You're like, let's just cancel the whole thing.
Does it have to do with self-doubt, or like self-esteem-ish, or it just takes the vibe away from you?
I think it takes the vibe. Sometimes it's gonna be low self-esteem.
Oh my God.
You're gonna be doubting yourself. That's why I say it's a bag of mixed negative things. Yeah, so you can expect anything negative. It's not like some of the things you can identify them, but some it takes a while to realize you're going through this.
Wow.
It took me a while to realize, okay, I think now I'm suffering from depression.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it comes like gradually, it eats you up,
Exactly.
and then when it gets to one extent where you cannot even think about something, you realize, okay, this might be depression.
Exactly. So true.
So how did you? Because today I am talking with you, and you guys, she's been very amazing. I think we met in, I think, 4 months ago, not so long ago,
So true.
and she was part of the Queens Only Club here in Jinan, and she's been a very active person and a very good friend. And the last time actually she came to my house and helped me with a little project we're preparing. So I feel like if what she has said and how she has survived it and even want to like make friendship with me or other people, she's really survived it. So maybe people are watching out there and they really don't know how to get out of this depression state. What would it be your advice to
Okay.
people?
So my advice to people would be like, first seek help. When you're in
That's
depression,
true.
a lot of times you're not gonna be able to make it on your own. So have somebody to talk to. Whatever will be eating you out, it's something you want to share with somebody.
With someone. Okay.
So find somebody you're gonna trust, though it's gonna be difficult.
Okay.
Because sometimes you just want to talk about it. So I can't say it's going to be an issue of whom you trust. Sometimes you just find yourself talking about it, even if you don't trust the person you're talking to. Yeah,
Sure.
it's like somebody's gonna be nice to you. You end up just like
Trusting them and
if
trying
you
to
talk
open
about
up
it.
to
Yeah,
them.
you're gonna be opening out. So you need to talk about it, even if people are not going to be happy about you talking about it. It's okay to talk about it. I remember seeing a video on the internet of a guy who had lost his mom. So he went to his doctor and he was like, "It's okay. I allow you to be mad, to just go mad,
Take it out.
take it out,
Take it out.
when you
Take
feel
it
like
out.
it's time for you to be yourself again." So he gave him the leeway to just like behave like he's a mad person, and maybe that was the way it was gonna
It's
help
helped him.
Yeah. So I managed
my
to have
gosh.
some people I talked to. They counseled me. It was really nice. And family. If you have family members when you're depressed, always stick together with your family. Even if you're not in good books with all the family members, but there should be somebody whom you're close to. So, but in my situation, we all lost mom. So it was like all of
Everyone
us,
is going
everyone
through
in the
everything.
family was going through something.
Oh my God.
So we needed some other people, like friends.
Friends. Yeah.
So it really helped.
So talking with someone, is there any other thing?
Yeah, the other thing, I'm a Christian. So being a Christian, prayer really helped me. It really helped me. So I would say without prayer,
Prayers.
I wouldn't have made it. There's a day where I thought that was going to be my last day because of depression. But I
Oh
prayed
my God.
and I just saw the Lord just going
It's
away.
getting
Yeah.
it out.
So it really helped me, and a lot of people in the Christian community, they helped me to go through it and to overcome it. And the other thing I would say, it's not something that I've fully overcome. It's a process. So sometimes people
Give
think,
yourself time.
yes, if you have depression, it just happens. It goes away at the click of your fingers like that.
No.
But it may take some
wow.
time, a while, even years. But
Wow.
step by step, slowly, the more I try to make things happen fast, the more things go slower. So till the moment I realized I have to go slowly. So like right now, I'm at a point in my life where I would say things are not going fast. I'm not at the point where I wanna be, but I'm thankful and I'm grateful for being where I am right now, if things seem to be moving at a slow
Very
pace.
slow. Very slow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and thank you. I want to point out the fact you said praying to God. I think that should not be underestimated because people will be like, but God will not hear me. How will I pray to God that I'm not even seeing? And you don't have to be a Christian to pray actually. You can be a Muslim.
Yeah.
You can, depends on whom your superior being is. And I want to make sure that I differentiate talking with someone and praying to God. Some people, we are all Christian, but I think there should be limits to a lot of things. It's always safe to talk with God. Like, this is my personal opinion, by the way. It's always safe to talk with God, but even the Bible advises us to talk with people.
Yes.
I feel like we Christians, with we are so abstract, and we don't even see the value of people we see every day. Some Christians will be like, oh, they don't trust anyone. Let me just go and talk to God, which I am not saying that is not okay. You talk to God, but God definitely will use people to answer your prayers. So I believe that even if you don't trust anyone in this world, like she just mentioned, talk, even if they're not listening. Talk even if they don't care about what you're saying.
Yeah.
Talk even if they won't even help you at that moment. But talk because of you want to get it out of yourself. That is very crucial. So let's not mix the Christianity, talking to God, and talking to human being. Wow, that's a powerful one. Okay, so depression is something, especially this 21st century of social
Yeah.
media, and we see perfect lives on social media, and we think, oh, this person lives a perfect life, Yeah, but we
That's
don't
so
really
true.
know what's going on backyard.
Yeah.
What are the advice you would give to, let's bring it to China right now,
Yeah.
because we are all going through one or two things here in China as an expat, and now we are after the COVID, and we've talked about during the COVID, after the COVID, what are the advice, maybe people that was down during the COVID time, what are the advice you would give to them, people here in China, to get themselves out of the COVID mentality? Because I call it COVID mentality because we still, there's this shock COVID gave all of us in China, me included, when it was COVID time, because there was anxiety in China, there was fear, there was trauma, like a lot of unseen things went on with almost everyone in China, and it's more like when COVID hits everybody in China. So, in your own opinion, what are the things you might advise people to do or get in mind to get themselves out of that COVID fear?
Okay. The first thing that comes to mind when you ask me this question
Okay.
is I would advise people, um, you know, not to kind of dwell on the past. Like, this is a decision I've made for myself. Like, I cannot, the past that I desire, maybe I can never get it back. So I would rather create a new future
Wow.
than to dwell on the
On the
past that I
past
can
all the
never get.
time.
Yeah. So maybe the things we wish they could go back to the situation that things were before COVID. Maybe things are never going to be go back to that state or situation. So rather we create a new future that is better, or whatever we have right now, let's just embrace it and make the best out of it.
Out of it.
Yeah.
You guys, that's a full statement. That is a full statement. I don't need to ask her what do you mean. I understand it. And to be honest with you, I really understand everything you just said now, but to me, I feel like it's so hard because I still have this fear of, what if I make another friend and the person leaves? There's always going to be this fear because we're always scared of starting all over again. That is human for us. We're not scared of the change, but we're just scared of the loss the change might bring. Sometimes that scares us from trying things. But yeah, she has really given us a lot of advice, and a very important one is trying to create the change or the new life we deserve or we want to see post-COVID. Okay, after COVID life in China, as an expat, what are the ways you want to find happiness for yourself? What are the ways you want to live your life after COVID? All right, thank you so much, Miss Rachel, and you've really said a lot of things about it, and I really I admire you a lot because going through a lot and losing almost everything because
Yeah.
parents are everything to me. Losing almost everything and standing back to your feet and even being on my podcast today to talk about it because it's one thing to be to be experiencing something and it's another thing to come on live to talk about it. Talking about it means you're ready for change. And I really thank you for being a model to probably a lot of people that may be watching this today, tomorrow, next year, 15 years to come. I wish this video was going to help a lot of people. I wish it's going to be a role model on how to be strong no matter what. So do you have anything so we can conclude the podcast? Do you have anything like to add up or like anything for the audience out there?
Okay, I don't have much, but I just want to say, let's be strong. I know it's not easy to tell people to be strong,
Exactly.
but whatever strength you have, it's being strong. Don't underestimate. Let's not try to compare. Like, oh, I think this person is much stronger than me. Um, I used to be such a strong person to the point I realized I was not strong enough.
Oh
So
my
these
God.
days, it has taught me to appreciate the little strength that is in me, and let's just use it. And I'd also
Wow.
like to
Wow.
say thank you, Jane,
Thank you
for
so much.
inviting me to this podcast. Maybe one or two of the words I've shared with you and with the audience out there, it may help someone in some way, or just even encourage them in some way. So I'm really grateful.
It's not may, it will. I
Thank
feel like
you.
it will. This is a deep conversation. Before now I was scared of what exactly to ask so that we don't because the COVID it's more like having a pain. Within the next 2 minutes you might forget about the pain. So remembering afresh everything that happened during the COVID time means it was in depth. So thank you so much for everything. And I think you might want to leave your contacts in case someone would like to call you for like counseling advice or, you know, speech out there. You don't know where this video is going to go to. I'm just going to post it on YouTube and post the audio on AudioMac and probably Facebook. I just want this to help a lot of people. And I believe that my podcast, I pray to God that I'm going to help as much people as possible. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel. And you guys are going to call it a day for today's podcast. I'm going to see you in my next podcast. Bye.